We're going to be jumping into the draft here for game number 4, and I'd love to see if things change the way we're expecting them to, at least even with the bans here. And it's RRQ AKIRA that's going to be on the blue side. We've got Blacklist International on the red, and already I like the bans from RRQ AKIRA, especially with that carry. Take it out, Kadita as well.
Yeah, so they've swapped once again. I think they're taking turns up until this point. But coming into game number 4 here, we see that carry as well as the Kadita is going to be the priority ban coming in from RRQ AKIRA, as well as the Joy and the Wan once again from Blacklist. Now, the question is, did you feel like there was anything in particular that they should have banned away? Do you think the Benedetta should be taken out?
Taken out away, I don't know, because I think they found their answer. I think it kind of goes back to what you wanted to see in Game 3 Eternity. We wanted to see RRQ AKIRA kind of play the same game, just play it a bit better. And I think finally they are playing a bit better. One thing that they are banning out here, though, is that Diggy. So even though they won that game, they know it can be a problem. But this can still now give some other choices over to Blacklist here. The glue still open once again, so I'm wondering, does Blacklist want to ban that out? Because Takashi did have a decent glue game earlier. Now we do have a quote coming from Coach Zays. I heard RRQ AKIRA is a strong team, and I heard RRQ AKIRA can win against MPL ID teams in the scrim, and not only one MPL ID team.
So that means that, you know, they're keeping up with these powerhouse teams. And I mean, we saw it. We saw it in the previous game here. But this is something that even us casters talked about before we got even to the group stages. You know, we were kind of contemplating how much time RRQ AKIRA had to practice, how much time and work they had to do with even RRQ Hoshi, right? And honestly, from game to game, there are games where it evidently shows here. And you got to remember, they're playing against these powerhouse teams, and so far, they've actually been doing a pretty good job. Now, first pick is going to be that glue.
You're right, the glue is going to be picked up first. Very prio here in this tournament, and I'd like to add on to your point. I think all casters, we have a briefing, we have a group study discussion, and one of the things that we did talk about was the fact that RRQ AKIRA, yes, they had a lot of coaching time with RRQ, but also the fact that they were a kind of pseudo Blacklist.
Yeah.
And it kind of just dawned on me that they're finally going against the team that they've looked so much up to. But going back into the drafting phase here, we see that the Benedetta once again going to be picked up from Blacklist as well as the Farsa. So now they're really switching things up, right? They have the utility coming in from the Farsa, the burst damage as well as the mobility in that middle lane. And in this current meta, that mid lane presence has been so important, and this is something that they can rely on and to take away what RRQ AKIRA brought to them in that previous game.
Yeah, I think it was game 1 where Haji had the Farsa as well, and there was just some of that early game aggression rotating up. They got the pick onto Takashi in literally like the first minute or 2 of the game, so if they want to try to play a similar style here, Akira's going to have to watch out for that. But Saigen is going to be locking in that Xavier once again, and Louise on the Cho. So trying to keep it similar to last game and possibly run the same thing back.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? They're going to go with the same situation, at least with these two heroes here for now, and see if it works. And there you go, across the board. That's the Eztez locked in again. So I'm wondering if we see a Baksha ban here. Like if they just want to go ahead and take that out because of the way that the passive works. Also, like we were talking about in the previous game, where, you know, the fact that you can just roam around so quickly, you can literally roll around and you have that presence is something to worry about here. So we'll see if they leave it open or not, because honestly, the way that it was played from King the previous game was outstanding.
As well as a free dominance ice.
Yep.
Basically, right? That's what the Boxia had to offer in that game. But I don't think Blacklist agrees with you in the sense that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, they're still picking up the Estes. We didn't see too much of an impact that the Estes had, but that could be primarily because of how shut down Venus was. Now, this is a risky pick, the Farsa as well as the Estes, into a Cho game where we saw Luis just really pop off, and he's so good at that targeting that these two heroes, these two people are going to be the main targets for RRQ AKIRA to take down first. But now coming into the second phase of the drafts, we can see that the Claude is going to be the choice of ban for Blacklist. They want to eliminate that AoE presence and that damage to go into that backside. Yes, AoE. And from RRQ AKIRA, they want to start limiting Wise's hero. The Barrett's gone.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think the AoE damage is just a little bit too much with not only the Claude, but also the Xavier on the field. So Blacklist showing some respect to some of those picks. Now, I'm wondering what this last ban is going to be from them. They did not go for the Basha, so that is still open. They decide to ban out the Ling. I got a feeling we may see the Fairmaze ban here, because even though they beat it, it was still a problem, and now they don't have as much AoE damage. So that could be a possible ban from them.
Man, I'm wondering too, like with the last ban here from RRQ AKIRA, what they want to play in the jungle here, because, you know, options for, at least from what we've seen from King, is do they want to lean towards the more bursty, even assassin jungle that we've seen here? Do we possibly see another Leomord? Or who else is left open? Hayabusa, that's picked a lot here. But honestly, I think you're better off picking something more along the lines of utility. But there you go. Oheb going to be locked in here, or Beatrix going to be locked in here for
That is
Oheb.
actually
I'm so
Oheb.
used to seeing.
No, you're right. That's
yeah,
he
the
is
Filipino
literally
sniper.
the human Beatrix.
Yep.
You're right.
Locks it in. That's
That was the same issue, remember, at MSC?
MSC.
The Cho, Kufra,
and
Chakno.
Chakno. Yes.
But yeah, the Beatrix is going to be picked up for Oheb. And I was wondering, right, seeing as RRQ AKIRA, they're relying heavily on the Xavier in the backline. Would it be crazy for Blacklist to pick up a Yuzong in the jungle for Wise? But before we get into that, we're going to see the last two picks to round out the drafts that RRQ AKIRA want to bring to the table. And once again, the Baxia, like you guys actually predicted before, as well as the Irithel. So they're relying on that extra movement speed as well from the Irithel, and they're trying to run them down. Maybe go in for
Heavy dive,
Heavy
right?
dive,
Yeah, heavy
right.
dive composition for sure. And this is kind of what they did last time. He's going to rely heavily on Louise getting some of these picks and on Takashi disrupting that back line. The only problem I'm worried about is Oheb up against Gusta Lagusta here. Personally, I am just not the biggest Irithel fan. I like it against the 1-1, but even then, 1-1 can sometimes get the advantage. So I'm a little iffy about it, but we do see as a final lock in there, that is the Akai. I'm guessing it's going to be in the jungle. How do you feel about it, Naisu?
I think Akai is probably your best choice here because you needed that utility. You're going against a Baksha again, and so now you're going to see these two junglers pretty much just taking the Demon Slayer emblems and fighting for objectives, right? That's kind of going to be the trend here for this game number 4 ahead of us. But also still, yeah, you have a lot of burst potential. You have the sustain. If Oheb can farm up and just kind of go in vacation mode, Blacklist International will be in a good position. But RRQ AKIRA, like we saw them do the previous game, they've got similar picks, right? They can still work around it. They can still force Blacklist International to follow their tempo. And still, this is going back. How does Louise start these fights up?
I don't know. We will see, because we are jumping into Game 4 in the Land of Dawn. Once again, this is Blacklist International going up against RRQ AKIRA in a best-of-5 series. Will RRQ bring us to a Game 5?
Remember, match point here for Blacklist. If they're gonna get this game, if they can take this game, they're gonna continue their journey, but Louise might not continue his.
Oh, there's the first blood here for Oh My Venus. Louise, you know, just taking too many hits this early on. That's not how you want to start it up. So now King gonna be the focus here. They get the stun. He's in a bad position. You don't want to go down here.
Not like this.
Haji grabbing a kill. And already off to a strong start here for Blacklist International.
That is definitely huge and very troublesome for RRQ Brazil. Already 2 members down. Not only Louise, one of your prime roamers, but also your jungler.
Ooh, 2-0 start, looking quite shaky. And Blacklist has been able to get this even before level 4. And this is the one thing that we mentioned about Haji on the Farsa. She's going to have so much damage even without that Feather Airstrike. And the fact that she's able to have that mini stun when she can combo out her skills, it's enough for them to use that type of utility to take these really aggressive roamers from RRQ Brazil down.
I mean, not only that too, but, you know, grabbing an early kill like this, always kind of what we see from these mid lane mages running the mystery shop. They get early kills, it gets even more devastating. And when you're talking about someone specifically like Farsa, who the burst damage is already there pretty early on in comparison to Xavier, who needs a little bit more time to build up here, that's going to be pretty devastating here.
Very, very devastating. And on top of that, like you mentioned, the Farza, there's just so much movement. And once Blacklist gets a little bit of a lead like this, it's going to be very reminiscent of game 1. They're going to be hyper aggressive. They don't need to rubber band. They're just going to come in hard and fast.
Oh, Haji going to wings by wings. Should be just fine here. Now, position-wise, it looks like they're both still going to fight for the turtle here. King going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Like the final blow comes out. Edward looking for the kill. King, though, able to secure the turtle under the nose of Wise as they still continue on. Dawning Light going to come out here, but Wise and Takashi stuck together. Wise falling. Luis with the kill, able to pick one up themselves. Way the Dragon comes out too. Back and forth they go. Now it's Luis on the run. Still going to be chased down here. Can't bob and weave out of there. Trying to run for the hills. Edward on the hunt. It's Luis, but can't get away. Edward able to grab the kill.
He was so close to escaping, but unfortunately at the last moment, even before King was able to help him out, he had to get taken down. Now Blacklist with the 1,000 gold lead, but Haji in the mid side, he's gonna get taken down, and a really good trade for RRQ Brazil, as now they're gonna center their focus onto the next control on the map.
Taking a look at these items now, we are seeing Oheb with a nice advantage, very close to already getting that Blade of Despair in. Everyone else, pretty typical. The only major thing we have to look at is Edward with a slight gold advantage. Overall, though, in the gold lane, things are at a standstill, so that is one thing that Brazil does have going for them here. The gold lead has not escaped too much, only 600 gold, still 40 seconds until the turtle, so I wouldn't count Brazil out just yet.
Well, as you saw, Clock of Destiny now being picked up here by Saigon. He's going to try to catch up here with Haji a little bit, but still the focus on the bottom side. Going to make Gusa Lagusa do some work here, trying to bob and weave, avoiding those airstrikes, and still just going to get poked down a little bit, but look at the patience here. King and Louise waiting around, waiting for an initiation, as well as Wise. He's going to be walking in here in just a second, going to spot out King, and not sure if they want to commit onto it just yet. A lot of focus on these two gold laners by both teams as we find ourselves in a standstill. And even Saigon coming here from the backside for now.
What I do notice is that Blacklist, they need to be careful because they don't exactly have a strong initiator, whereas RRQ, they have Louise, but once again, Feather Airstrike gonna be popped off just to deal a little bit more damage, to have a little bit more clear, as well as to zone the members of RRQ Brazil away, but was it too quick?
Well, they know they don't have the feathered airstrike here. Going to be working on the turtle. Wise trying to go in. Heavy spin comes out. It's King again, securing the turtle under Wise. And now it's Oh My Venus going to be trapped here. Oheb there to back up Oh My Venus. Not going to commit though. They're still going to be chasing down Takashi. Could be in trouble. Gets out. Flicker from Saigon. Here comes Edward. Electo final blow, but he's going to get kicked by the way of the dragon. They find King, punishing him down. Make it 2. Blacklist International punishing RRQ Akira.
This is definitely very troublesome. Saigon trying to do something there, but Blacklist does not want to give this up just yet. It does seem like finally they're going to back off, but not until they push Brazil all the way back to their base. And at this point, Blacklist is just going to start hunting, taking out some of their jungle and feeding off of Brazil's own resources.
I mean, Farsa has been so huge in all of these skirmishes, right? And if we take a look at these sub-emblems, we see that she's going for more penetration. And even without those core items earlier on, she only has the Clock of Destiny, if I'm not mistaken. Without the Winter Truncheon, she's already dealing that much damage. So imagine the Winter Truncheon coming through. She has more damage from, let's say, the Holy Crystal if they want to be crazy about it. That's just so much magic damage that they need to be able to get free. Whereas when we look at RRQ Brazil, with the way they're going for these team fights, Luis is primarily just trying to protect Gusta Lagusta, and therefore he's unable to make those plays into the back line to eliminate these threats like Haji.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't completely count anyone out just yet. With Saigon not having any deaths, he wasn't too far behind Haji in terms of gold. He has also locked in the Clock of Destiny. Once he gets that Winter Truncheon, there may be some plays to happen.
There was the burst right there. They got to respect it, Luis. The bob and weave out of there, the feathered airstrike committed as well. You can already see though, like some of the damage, especially from Gusa Lagusa, is building up here. Once he gets that Berserker's Fury, if he doesn't have it yet, it will be there. And then again, Electro Flash with that sprint is crucial here on the Irithil pick. Conceal play gonna come out. Luis on the hunt, flickers in. Oheb able to dodge it, but King also gonna miss. They're gonna find Haji. He wings by wings out. And now it's Blacklist International on the hunt here. Still, RRQ AKIRA gonna back off. Edward there, though, in the bush. Wise working on the turtle for now. RRQ AKIRA, this is gonna be very tough to fight. Saigon's still waiting for that dawning light to be available. The Takashi goes in here. Now the turtle's still gonna be worked on. Everything being committed. Wise with a heavy spin, able to secure the turtle, pushing everybody back. Takashi, though, deep into enemy territory. Can he get away from this one? It's 4 members of Blacklist International, and you can't get away from that, Takashi.
Definitely cannot get away with that. The thunder has been quelled as Blacklist rolls forward on this match. I gotta say right now, it is definitely an intense game 4. The only thing that Brazil has going for them, and I was about to say it, but now it's not true, was they were even in towers. But at this point, Blacklist is coming in strong. Luis, oh.
Luis, that is a misstep on his part, as that was 3 members. Now King trying to come up with a cutoff here, but still going to be the same situation. There's just too much sustain, not enough damage from Saigon just yet.
5,000 gold lead for Blacklist here in the 8th minute, and they're trying to push the tempo even worse. And here you go, Takashi. He's gonna get pinned.
Gets pinned down, heavy spin, able to pick up another kill here. And Blacklist International furthering their lead in this game 4.
It's so difficult, right? Because so far, like I've mentioned before, I do realize that Blacklist, they don't have a hard initiator. So they are relying heavily on Haji for these initiates. And it's working so well. And for the moment, and for the most part, RRQ Brazil, they haven't been able to even build that magic resist. We do see the cloak coming through for Luis, but it hasn't reached that point. Okay, there you go. The Athena shield finally being built, and he's the only person who can try and negate that much damage coming in from Blacklist. And the fact that he's only built it here in the 8th minute, 9th minute, it's no concern that Blacklist has been able to dominate this much already early on.
Yeah, and I mean, the big problem is the fact that he's just getting to hold on a second.
Okay, Wise though, gonna use the heavy spin. Luis gonna get locked down here. Gonna be a kill going over to Oheb as they find one from RRQ AKIRA. They're still going around though. Wise gotta be careful. They're gonna back off. Feathered airstrike to follow up, forcing out everything. And RRQ AKIRA now down 1 member. Lord in the taking for Blacklist International.
That is definitely bad. And before the downfall of Brazil interrupted me, what I was going to say was, the fact that they're just getting defense against Haji is definitely troublesome, because now, as we're into the 10-minute mark, we have Oheb to worry about, who has gotten a lot of items, and now King in trouble.
Yeah, there's no way you can get out of there. King was trying to get the opportunity to go for that retry still if he could. I mean, that happened, you know, we saw that happen to the Turtles, but by this point, Blacklist International are not going to let that happen.
Definitely not going to have to let that happen. But Brazil wants to keep on fighting. They find Edward there.
Oh, Edward, you can't escape that one. Gusa Lagusa able to pick up a kill. Feathered airstrike coming down. He's going to sprint out of there. Now Wise committing the heavy spin, looking for a cutoff. Finds Gusa Lagusa. One hit away, going to be able to survive. And now it's King going in. Wise could be in trouble here, but the damage from Oheb is too much. Takashi now going to be out of position, has to flicker out, still chased to the base, and just another hit away. Oheb just showing those guns and now focusing on the tier 2.
Lord already marching down there in the top side as Blacklist, even though they lost a member there, they are going to be able to still put that pressure in the mid as they're looking for more. Inhibitor turrets not taken down just yet, so for the moment, RRQ Brazil, they're still staying relevant in the game, although they are losing at 7,000 gold deficit. It seems like Blacklist have not found the means to be able to really penetrate through.
You know, Takashi right now is literally hanging on for dear life with his team. I mean, literally hanging on to every member of Blacklist, trying to just buy Brazil some time right now. Every time he goes in that back line, he is surviving a little bit longer. We saw him get caught up one time, but now, hold on.
Oh no!
Coming down, look at the burst damage. Oheb picking up a kill. King gonna be out of position a little bit here. He was waiting for the moment that they could find anything. Gusa Lagusa, is he gonna be stopped? He's able to survive a little bit longer. Still RRQ AKIRA trying to hold on, but again, Oheb has the damage. 6-0-2 on that iconic hero of his, and they might be pressing the situation even further. focusing on the top side, gonna go ahead and grab this inhibitor turret. King now finally back in the base here. Edward grabbed that bottom. They're holding on for dear life. Feathered airstrike gonna be committed, and it's another one. Oheb able to secure another kill, pushing them back further. Wise cutting off Gusta Lagusta. Edward on the follow-up, but should be able to get away here. Base almost fully explodes. The flicker comes in. Can they still follow up? Gusta Lagusta still on the run. Where can he go? Blacklist International on the hunt here. He's buying time, but at what cost? Still going, can't get the kill. Haji to clean up.
Definitely a valiant effort, though, and at least he pulls Blacklist away from the base, and he does buy time, in fact, but just enough time for the Lord to be back on the map into the hands of Blacklist.
But I gotta say, right, that was genius, because if he didn't pull that, they would have ended that game. But RRQ Brazil, with that play from Gusta Lagusta, they're going to be able to prolong and try and recalibrate themselves, recalibrate their mentality of what exactly type of gameplay that they want to go for here, even though Blacklist is going to be able to get this next Enhanced Lord. But looking at the items, things are looking quite bleak, right? I mean, the problem is Gusta Lagusta, she has her items, right? You already have the crit, you have the attack speed, but the problem is because of that range, because of how big that Farsa's ultimate is, he can't get close enough to deal the damage, and it must be so frustrating.
Yeah, definitely very frustrating, especially the fact that Luis can't get in there to help at all, right? Every time he goes in, he's getting melted down, but the question on everybody's mind, can they defend this push?
Well, they're going to have to deal with it as Lord in the mid lane. Flicker's coming in. Takashi trying to make a play, buy some time and some space. They're still going at Edward in the backside with Electro final blow. Dawning Light to follow up. It's not enough. Oheb does fall, but Gusta Lagusta as well. Both gold laners are down. Still the action ensues as Haji grabs a double. Takashi once again all alone here. Now Edward trying to push in the waves. Takashi trying to buy time. 3 versus 1 in the jungle. They just can't get this guy off of him. And Edward looking to end the game. Electro final blow comes out. Feathered airstrike. Look at the time. Takashi finally falls. And Blacklist International one step closer to making history as they take the series.
What are the Brazilian kings to the queen herself? Blacklist International with a stellar performance. They have sent RRQ AKIRA crawling back down to the lower brackets.
Definitely back to the lower bracket. I've liked to set it before, but it doesn't feel like a comeback bracket right now, but it still was a valiant effort by RRQ AKIRA. But tonight, Blacklist reigns supreme on the stage, putting on a great and stellar performance.
Man, Takashi was doing work on that glue as much as he could, but I mean, little by little, that gold lead just got out of hand. I mean, RRQ AKIRA held on for as long as they could, but one after another, again, they didn't get to set their tempo. They didn't get to set the pace that they wanted to, and Blacklist International is just a team that really will punish that. So, again, good try here for RRQ AKIRA, but the defending champions able to prevail.
Don't forget though, it's not over yet,
not over
right?
yet.
For everyone, all of you watching into the audience, at home, on live, don't forget that RRQ AKIRA, they still have the chance to come back out of this alive. They're going to the lower brackets, which means they have a lot more time to learn. And remember, like we keep mentioning over and over, L is not for lose.
It's for learn, and but the Agent Zero does strike back. Blacklist International advances to the 3-1 scoreline. And as you mentioned, honestly, I'm feeling bad for anyone that has to go against AKIRA in the bottom bracket. They did a great performance, and I got a feeling they could make their way very far into this M4. But, analysts, how you guys doing?
Masters, and welcome back to the analyst stand. It's gonna be me, Goni, Leo, LFL. Thank you, casters. Perfect game from side of Blacklist.
Oh yeah, that's one more win for Blacklist, and that's nice to put one step closer to making history towards that title defense. And it's mission accomplished for Blacklist International and agents all around the world.
Yeah, and again, like they were saying, like now they're much more closer because again, this is the defending champions. If they go to the grand finals and they win it all, oh my God, back-to-back world champions? That'll be insane.
Step by step, but a strong performance indeed. 3-1 and a very, very well-coordinated team. Good synergy. I mean, V-Wise was practically unstoppable in that game. Let's talk about the drafts here. What do you see?
I'd like to focus more on the bans that Blacklist International employed. They actually picked up on that Claude, on Gusta La Gusta, and again, just that Ling in the second phase we're in, yeah, just always get rid of it. That's a Blacklist identity. And again, it looks like game 1, 2, and 3, and 4 are super connected. All of them, they took lessons, and it looks like Blacklist learned much quicker.
Well, let's take a look at the item builds here. What's significant for you, especially LaFell, in that particular game? Because last game, it was a just textbook performance by the defending champions.
Actually, looking at the itemization, I want to look at the hero still because I kind of feel like for this draft, we could talk a little bit more as well because RRQ AKIRA, they could have picked up the Lapu Lapu again, but they opt for the glue, which, interestingly enough, I think everyone agrees that glue is super strong, but has a very low win rate here in M4 World Championship. I kind of feel like it's strong individually, but as a team, it really doesn't do much because you can catch one person, but then if the person still has a flicker, you're not really connecting the glue grab to make sure that they're out of position. When in comparison to like a Lapu Lapu where you just dive in, and you don't only do a lot of damage to everyone, you can sustain very well. And your AoE stun is an AoE. You can hit a lot of people.
Yep, given what the item builds look like for Blacklist and RRQ AKIRA in this 14-minute game, the items are really, for the most part, going to be as generic as it gets, right? There really wasn't much of an interaction here, at least on early glance. So it really was those heroes that they came into the game with that made the difference. Something I'd like to note, the fact that RRQ AKIRA tried to ride their momentum and again just changed maybe 1 or 2 heroes from that winning game, game 3, and then I guess Blacklist was just so much faster on the pickup.
I mean, Blacklist International, they displayed, again, good extraction from the composition. So let's take a look at the post stats here. It will be Takashi taking the Sandbag, but it will be Venus, Haji, and Hoheb taking the 3 categories.
I actually want to talk about the carry Haji. 75,000 damage dealt in this game, and I feel like this is the biggest change between the previous game and this one, because previously he was using the Pheromones, which is more of a utility mid laner, and now Haji is carrying, he's doing the damage. I feel like this is honestly the biggest difference maker here, Leo.
Yeah, say what you will about Blacks International's usual builds, wherein some will say they have too much utility, they lack damage. Right here, this is the right amount of damage, and Tekash, Astro Thunder, was on the receiving end of a lot of this, and it's not just wanton damage, it's actually a very unique and specific kind of damage, because in the hands of Kel1, the Filipino sniper, that Beatrix, 47% team participation, he was dealing damage where it mattered. That's what made him the rich guy, and that's what helped Blacklist take the victory here.
Also, what's interesting, if you take a look at the items or the data, earlier it was actually not that far when you're talking about damage dealt. So RRQ AKIRA also deals a plenty amount of damage, but of course, Blacklist were the majority, but it wasn't that far. So it's saying that RRQ AKIRA actually also deals a lot of damage.
And with that being said, we got to look at the person that did the most amount of work. Let's look at the MVP of this game, where the MVP is going over to Haji. And again, we talked about this. This is the difference maker from Pheromones to Farsa. Let's talk about this, 95.5% kill participation.
When we're naming MVPs in most professional MLBB events, you'd look at 2 types of MVPs, the setup and the payoff MVP. Haji was both. He was both helping Blacklist control the map, and he was also getting a lot of kills, getting a lot of assists, which helped him build an almost complete arsenal for a mid-mage. There was just one more item that he could not build, because again, this was a relatively short match, 14 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, 95% KP, and to add to that, you're right, he can bait the members of AKIRA while dealing damage. Feather Airstrike, zoning people away. Baited Cho to just kick her away with that Purify, and again, Haji understands that he can survive with that Wings by Wings as well.
Pretty crazy. Farsa cannot see, yet the Feather Airstrike always hits.
You're right, you're right.
That's some Sixth Sense kind of thing going on.
That's where Haji comes in.
That's where Haji is the Sixth Sense.
That's where Haji comes in. And his map sense is just amazing. You'll see here how in the first 5 minutes, he was literally everywhere. Again, wings by wings coming in clutch. He's able to answer and provide for everything that his team needs.
I mean, looking at the minimap, it's like a jungler, right? He's everywhere, jungle, top side, mid, and as well as bot. That is what can Haji do. Very effective.
This is the great thing when we look at mid laners. Where are you really helping? And it's nice to see Haji is helping every side of the map, because we've seen teams focus on EXP, focus on gold. But Haji is like, I have food everywhere, bro. Like jungle, the riverside, gold, EXP, is all of it is mine.
And this isn't even really uncharacteristic, because about 2 years ago at M2, Haji already competed in the world stage under the Omega banner for the Philippines as well. So again, he's a jungler turned roamer turned mid, and here he's the KDA machine helping out Blacklist in every way possible. I'm wondering though why he spent a little bit of the time in the top lane. I wonder what that was cutting.
Yeah. Well, let's see here, right? What did he do? In case you missed it, this is going to be the highlights. Blacklist taking the last match. Well, take it away.
I want to talk about both sides of the issue, right? Blacklist International, they did well, and I kind of feel like they did well off of the mistakes coming in from RRQ AKIRA, because we're not seeing it here in the highlights, but earlier in the match where Luis got poked out so hard, and then King tried to help, and then both of them gave kills onto Blacklist International. And then after that, looking at this kind of match, they don't have a lot of setup, and I kind of feel like that's also a very big difference. RRQ AKIRA in this match and the match before, the setup wasn't as clean as before.
Yeah, and again, Blacklist just really adjusted to the occasion. Oh no, this was that moment where Gusta Lagusa got caught out. I have to also talk about and bring up the interaction between Glue and Farsa. You can just fly away, just walk away, and don't get hurt. And then if Tekashi does drop off, then you let the rest of Blacklist deal with it. That was something that was so well coordinated, and the shot calling on that was just immaculate.
Amazing performance displayed. The defending champions again showing quality in Mobile Legends. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the last match for today. It is going to be confirmed. Staying in the upper bracket, the defending champions Blacklist International. Meanwhile, RRQ AKIRA, they will fall down a bit in the lower bracket, fighting for